Hey guys, I wanted to address something that I see a lot in comments and messages that I get every day. In fact, all of us at Team APS, we get this type of message pretty often. Discord, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, everywhere. Um, and it's this idea that, that the question is typically something along the lines of, "Hey, Paul, what do you think of X deck? Can it compete? Is it viable? Can it beat the meta right now? My favorite buzzword, the meta." And it'll be a deck like Black Wings or perhaps something more obscure, Chemicritters, or something. I don't know, just some random Tinny. I know I use those a lot as my examples. Sorry, people who like those decks. I like Tinny too. Uh, and they'll be like, do you think my Blue Eyes deck can like beat the meta? And I'm always at a bit of an impasse with like how to respond to this because obviously I could be the glass half full optimist guy who's like, yeah, like if you like really build the best deck you can and try really hard and like maybe you get lucky, like this deck can like win. It can win a big tournament. But let's be honest here. I don't really think that's true. And that's okay. Uh people it's okay to play a deck even if it's not a tournament winning deck. Here's the hard cold truth about Yu-Gi-Oh! Just totally unsugarcoated. Not all decks are made equal, and some decks just cannot reliably win at the highest level. It's not, this plenty of games are like this. If you play like, fighting games or other card games or whatever, there are top tier decks, there are mid tier decks, there are low tier decks. This isn't like really a secret in Yu-Gi-Oh! Power creep is also a thing. Old cards usually aren't as good as new cards. And what you end up with is basically a set of decks at the top that are faster, stronger, more consistent, more resilient, what have you, more expensive oftentimes too. And they're the decks that are going to be played the most at the top level, and they're the decks that are going to win the most. They will, make stronger boards, they will just be more consistent, they just will simply outpace most other decks. And I think that people sometimes get wrapped up in the idea of like, well, can I make my X deck, I'm trying to think of another example here, Armed Dragons or Melfi's or Digital Bugs. Can I make my crawler deck be able to beat? I guess right now it'll be like Virtual World Drytron, or whatever the top deck is at the time. Can it beat them? And the answer is no. It really can't. It's not like you can't take a game ever, but it cannot reliably do that. And I feel like I can't, in good faith, tell people that because I would kind of be lying to them. But what I want to stress in this video is that is totally fine. You don't need to be playing the best deck all the time. And even if the deck that you're playing doesn't reliably like win against these other decks, it doesn't mean you can't still build it. It doesn't mean you can't still enjoy it. It doesn't mean you can't, that you can't still have fun playing against meta decks. I actually kind of enjoy the challenge of facing like more competitive decks than the things that I'm playing. Like right now, I don't play really any like of the top tier decks. I play like Madolche, I play Rika, I play Witchcrafters. I, like, for me, I'm not necessarily looking to build the strongest decks, but I still like to, do the best that I can against them. I accept that, maybe I'll lose more often than I'll win, but it still makes the wins really gratifying. Another second point to that, though, is I'm not playing in a lot of tournaments. I don't, I used to go to more tournaments, but COVID. But I mean, like right now, it's as a player in general, I'm not, going to a YCS event like every other weekend or going to a regional every weekend and like, grinding and playtesting super duper hardcore because that's not really the type of player I am. I like to compete sometimes. I do find it fun. I like to prepare for an event and try my hardest. And, I've done pretty well at some events, actually. I've placed really well in regionals and, like, OTS things. But also, like, sometimes I just want to sort of play just at the house with my friends. You've seen the videos, open some random stuff, play some fun games, take the hand traps out, take the staples, like the lightning storms at least, and stuff like that out of the deck and just have some fun. I like to see how decks of different tiers, stack up against each other. Stuff like that. How does my dual avatar deck stack up against, my friend's Brigand's deck, right? Like, that stuff is exciting to me. I think you have to be honest with yourself. Like, what are you looking for out of this game? If you are looking to, like, win and crush the competition, like, all the time, like, that's, like, your number one priority is winning, there are decks for you. That's where you can look to, whatever the current, top cream of the crop decks are and build them. That will come with an element of, I suppose, sort of sameness. Like, you will lose some uniqueness. I know a lot of people take pride in not playing the same thing as everybody else. And that's not necessarily something that you get to enjoy when you're, playing in tournaments. You can play like a version of a top tier deck with a couple of different tech cards, maybe a different engine, or you can even try your hand at something a little bit different, something more rogue. But at the end of the day, the upper tier decks will statistically just be winning more often because they are stronger. I am not, I can't sugarcoat that, because I just don't think that it's worth lying to people over it. I think that it's fine, if you want to win, those are the decks that you should be looking at, or, something close to them. If you just want to have some fun with some friends, you can look elsewhere. That's where you can build your Blue Eyes deck. That's where you can build all this other stuff. People will come to me asking, almost for like my permission or my seal of approval. And so, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the issue that I end up having there is just like, I'm not trying to like, crush dreams or break hearts or whatever with my responses, but I don't want to lead people astray. I don't want to misinform somebody and have them feel as though their crawler deck like has a chance, because at a super competitive high level tournament, no, it doesn't. With your friends, maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe it can even do well at locals. That's what I mean when I just say, like, you gotta just kind of be honest with yourself. What do you want out of this game? What are you like willing to spend on this game? Or like, what are you willing, how much, I guess, individuality are you willing to sacrifice even for this game? That's the hard truth of it. That's the hard truth of mini games. Just an aside, like Super Smash Brothers. It's a game series that I really like. I enjoy playing it. I play a little bit of Ultimate, some Super Smash Bros. Melee. The top tier characters in those games, I mean, people like those top tier characters because they have depth and because they're strong. And if you want to win, it's better to pick stronger characters. It's not saying you absolutely can't win with like, worse characters, but you're gonna be swimming upstream and you might just get more frustrated than it's worth. So I think the same thing can apply to Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, you just gotta like, them's the breaks, that's how the cookie crumbles. It's better not to get too lost in the details and just play the deck that you want to play. If you are interested in building a deck, just build it. Especially, this is a bit off topic, but especially because like there's so little investment needed now. Like, yeah, I guess when you eventually want to build a deck in real life, you'll have to spend money. But if you just want to try something out, I mean, just build it. Just build it. I mean, EDO Pro, Dueling Book. I know they released Dueling Omega soon, or I guess I don't know if it's out of beta yet or whatever. These things exist, and like you can play them and just build these decks for free and just try them and have fun, and just enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. I know I harp on this a lot, but I just don't think that I can ever stress this enough. You're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For you. You're not playing it for anyone's approval. You're not playing it for my approval. I mean, you just do what you want to do. That's just the honest sort of answer to a question like, can my insert very, very low tier or obscure deck win? It can, but the chances are slim and just might not be worth the trouble. Okay, I think I made my point known. Hopefully this was an interesting video and you guys found it insightful. I know it's not like always a fun or easy conversation. I'm sure some people are like, they're angry. You're being so negative about this, but I think I'm being pretty realistic, and I think that optimistically you can still enjoy this game just fine regardless. Alright, that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and inputs on this one down in the comments. I'm pretty interested in reading that. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Pass turn.